Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Timeline. Today we're going to be covering Sacajawea, whose height of influence, or height of popularity, if you want to think about it that way, was between about 1800 and 1810. The United States purchased the Louisiana Territory, which is a weird thing to call it because today it involves way more states than just Louisiana, so that's a confusing thing for us to call it today. The United States purchased the Louisiana Territory from the French in 1803, doubling the size of the country. So if you think about a map, and we're just thinking about it because I can't pull down my map in the classroom, you know, the one that doesn't work anyway, and I get it stuck up there and then it flips up really loudly. Anyway, if we were to pull down that map, the East Coast was where the British had held colonies. That's where the United States is formed, mostly there on the East Coast. To the west of that is all still owned by the French. A lot of stuff on the further west coast and the south is still owned by the Spanish. We are not a country that takes up the whole continent yet. Lewis and Clark were sent out on an expedition to explore the territory. In 1805, Sacajawea, a Shoshone woman, joined the adventurers carrying her 2-month-old son on her back, which is why I put Sacajawea on your timeline instead of Lewis and Clark. Everybody talks about Lewis and Clark, but really they were two secretaries who weren't very good at spelling. They were very good at writing things down, but they didn't know a whole lot about adventuring. And it's really because of Sacajawea that they don't get killed and eaten by a bear like the first or second day of their adventure. And she does it all with a baby on her back, which I feel like makes her way cooler than Lewis and Clark. She acted as a translator, diplomat, and plant specialist to help the expedition travel through western regions of the continent. At this time, no one had ever seen the continent from space. And stop and think about that for a minute. You've grown up your entire life constantly seeing the Earth from space, on TV mostly, or in pictures in magazines, or pictures in the newspaper. And you have a pretty good working knowledge of what the Earth looks like from space. You've never been in space, I'm presuming, but you believe in that image and you know what that looks like. At this point in time, nobody's ever been to space. Nobody has ever been high enough above the continents, above the Earth even, to have any idea what it really looks like, or how big things are, or how many continents are even really out there still yet. At this time, no one had ever seen the continents from space and had no idea how much territory was really out there. The group successfully mapped routes to the Pacific Ocean and returned to their homes. Her white French-Canadian husband received a lot of land as a reward for helping out the Corps of Discovery, but Sacagawea's expertise was never formally recognized. She died in 1812 at age 25 from some sort of fever disease. People died of fever diseases all the time back then, and nobody ever had any idea what the disease was. States later carved out of the Louisiana Purchase include Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and parts of Colorado, Louisiana, Minnesota, Montana, New Mexico, North and South Dakota, Texas, and Wyoming. Thanks.